Hello everyone, this is Ibrahim and we're still doing the Learn Flutter videos. So in the last video we've actually finished the onboarding screen, and based on so I'm just missing the caption, but it's not really a problem. We can finish those in a later videos, or I can do them on my own. It's not really important. Anyway, so based on the design we currently have, we finished this set of screens and we're supposed to do this now. So this is supposed to have a slider, so we will be using a page view builder here, a page view, and I'll be adding a bit of a spice on top of this just to show you a really cool widget that you really can use anywhere. So based on the selection the user makes, we get to see the corresponding supported blood type groups. So if I'm a donor, I choose the blood group type that I have, and accordingly I get to see the supported blood types that I can donate to. Okay, so looking at this, we will definitely have a container and a column. And inside of that column, we will have this page view right here. And then we would have another stack of elements, and within a flat button and a set of elements that we can build based on the selection. So first of all, we need a list of blood types that we can display to the user. I'll have this ready. Okay, so in order for us to have an organized kind of code, let's create a new folder and call it widgets. And inside of the widgets folder, we will have the different screens. So given we are planning to implement the donor part of screens, let's have a folder called donor. And inside of that folder, we want to create the blood, let's call it a blood selector. And as always, we need to make the necessary imports, material, like so. And given this is not really the main, we would just create a stateless or stateful widget. We know that this state actually changes because as you scroll, you change the page view scroll, the carousel, the blood type. We want to update the information. So that's definitely a stateful widget. We can do the manual class blood selector extend stateful. We can just save ourselves the time and just go with stateful widget and just name it blood selector. And in the blood selector, instead of us having a container, let's have a scaffold. And as always, scaffold takes in body, and in the body we want to have a container, and the container would have a child, and that child would be a column. Column of children, list of widgets. Okay, so we need the list of blood type groups. I've already prepared these in Notepad, and I'll just have them. So let's create a list. Let's create a list of type string. So basically this is an array of elements and takes in, let's call it items or blood groups, maybe. Yeah, and then have the list dumped here. I've already prepared the list of blood groups. So I'm just copy pasting it from Notepad, and semicolon to end this statement. So next is for us to build the carousel effect. Okay, all right, so let's create a function, because we don't want to clutter everything in the build method. Let's create a function. Given this function is going to be private to this class, let's call this carousel builder. Okay, so remember, we're not returning anything from this function, not like any data. We're actually retaining the carousel effect widget. So this scrolling effect, let me pull up the design real quick. So this one, we're actually returning this full widget here. So it's just like we can implement it right inside of the column, but we don't want to clutter this part of the code here because it might get lengthy really quickly. And it's nice to have this like separately done in a nicely, organized manner. So to make things simple, because I want to introduce a new widget that's pretty cool, let's have this return a column. And as always, the column takes in children, and the children takes in widgets, and then a list of widgets, right? So the column here is supposed to have a semicolon, and this is this list of elements within the column. Yeah, I think I should postpone the widget that I wanted to introduce, which is basically called Inkwell. But let me postpone it. Let me do the page view first. Now I can opt for the page view, like we've done in the onboarding screens. Like we can just use the page view directly. We don't have to, given we already know the number of elements we currently have, 1, 2, 3, 6, 8. So we currently have 8 items. So we can go for the page view, but it might get little, 8 is not really an easy thing to do. Well, it is, but whatever. We don't have to brute force each element like we've done here. So we've actually done for the page view, where is it? For the page view, the children, we actually had manually added the items one by one, because we know exactly how many elements we want to display. In here we know too, but how about we also introduce a simpler, faster way? What if I have 50 elements? It's not going to be usable or feasible for us to actually have the page view list all of the 50 elements manually. So we can automate this using the page view builder. Let's see how that works. So we can go with the same approach, page view, but instead of page view, we go for builder, like this. And this, as always, takes the controller, but what's really important is the item builder. We'll be adding a controller later, but let's do the item builder first. And the item builder actually takes in a function. And this function takes in, first of all, takes in the context. So build context. And it also takes in as parameter the index. So let's call this an index, just like that. And now these two are actually exposed to us in the item builder. So we just need to do the carousel, the items now. So the items would be, we can have a container. So we could have this be a container. So we could go return container. Yeah, and this takes in a child. And in that container, we want to have, so we can just like simply have this display just the text for now. And this could be, so we have the items we currently have, and we're passing the index right here. So items of index. And that's about it. Nothing special, right? So we just need to add, so the container needs to take in a semicolon, like so. Okay, so that's the carousel builder. Well, it's very simply done. We need to update the main before we do forget. We need to import this class that we've just made. So because this is because this widget folder, the blood selector is in a folder on the same folder level as the main dot. So just have dots and then widgets and then donor and then blood selector. Then instead here we could just go blood selector. If we try to save, to update this has to be updated to display exactly this. Given this doesn't have any information, so we could display the carousel builder. We have an error. Let's see what's the problem. Well, this definitely has to do with the container not having a size. Yeah, so let me add where is it? Yeah, so let me go to the carousel here, to the page view builder, and okay, render box. Oh, okay. So let's wrap this page view builder. Let's wrap this in a sized box. Let's wrap it in a widget called sized box, and then give it a height of say 200. See if this works. We can see it right here. It's actually right there, but it's not really visible. So how about we add a bit of a styling to the text, more like a style. And then we could have text style, and then we could have font size of say 48. Let's save, and there we have it. So this is an item this is the second item, and this is the third item, and then the fourth item, and so on. Okay, so that's the first step. The next step should be to format all of this. I mean, it's pretty ugly if you ask me. So first thing we need to do is add a little bit of margin and a little bit of padding. Well, obviously we have to do that because it's pretty ugly, right? So if you ask me. Now, what we can do in the Carousel builder, we have a sized box right here. And in the sized box, we want to display maybe, let me see if we can add, maybe, instead of a sized box, we could have just opted for a container too. This really works really pretty fine. Notice, if I save, no errors show up. It's pretty, let me clear this one and rerun it. It works just fine. And then if I add a little bit of margin and then edge insert, as we all know, and then we add a little, say 30 here, comma, see what happens. We get to see this go down just like we've expected it to be. Now the other nice widget that I wanted to talk or display is the inkwell. The inkwell kind of allows you to tap on the on the element itself, like you could have an inkwell on top of any widget, and that widget will be clickable. But I think it's not really important to have right now, so that we shouldn't be like branching to different topics at the same time. Okay, so let's fix this error like we currently have here. So I'm not sure if you've noticed that we have this error right here, and that's because this page view builder needs the number, then needs the count of elements that it should be rendering for. So given we have a child here, let me reformat this really quickly. And then we have the item builder. So we have the item builder. We also need the item count. The item count would be the items.length. Now notice this error actually disappears. And that's about it for this scroll. I mean, it's just a matter of designing now, and we could have this designed no problem. Like we could have a color here instead of like we could have a, how do you say this? We could have a container, and in that container we would have this text. So just like we've done here, we could add a decoration, and the decoration takes in box decoration. And in the box decoration, this exposes lots of fancy stuff for us. So color, we have the theme of context, and then let's choose the primary lights color, maybe like so. And we could even have, like, see if I try to save this, see what we currently have, this kind of nice effect. And then we could also have a radius. This is why we've used the decoration, the box decoration. I mean, if we just gone for the color, we could just simply like not have this box decoration. But because we need the radius, that's why we had to use the box decoration. So this takes in border radius, and similarly to what we've done with edge insets, we just do radius dot circular. And then it takes in a value of, say, I don't know, just give it a 4. See how this looks like. There is a bit of, edging right here. Let me try to do this without the box decoration, and then just let me have this removed and try to save. See, it's right there, but there is no edging right there. Let me go back, and there's this small. It's not very visible, but it's all about the small details, if you ask me. And see that it's more visible right here. Now, we decided to have the text centered, right? We want to have this text centered. Now, instead of this, let me try to format this like so. Let's wrap this text with the center widgets. So the center takes care of everything for us. And there we have it. So it's pretty nice, isn't it? Sweet. That's the scroll effect. This is the carousel effect, if I may say so. So in the next video, we'll have this. So we'll have these elements change upon the change of the items you currently have here. Alright, see you in the next one and have a good day.